What's up, everyone? It's your girl Shay here, and welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. And I apologize if the lighting situation is not great. It is currently daylight savings time or fall back, whatever it is, depending on whatever state or country you're in. Basically, we gained an hour of sleep, but time went back an hour. So when it, like right now, it would technically be 6 o'clock, but it's technically 5. So it's dark outside, so your girl had to pull out her lights, and her lights make me, or my lights make me look so oily, which I probably really am because I've been at work all day, but that's besides the point. I am back with a brand new video, and this time I am talking about fan fiction again. And the main reason why I'm talking about fan fiction is because your girl is on a fan fiction reading kick. I've been reading fan fiction for I've been reading fan fiction for years, but like everybody else, I fall off fan fiction, then I come back, and then I fall off again, and then I come back. Your girl is back reading fan fiction. So I decided to make a video talking about 5 struggles that anyone who reads fan fiction struggles with. So I thought this would be a really fun video for me to do. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you read fan fiction, I hope you guys relate to these. And also, feel free to comment below any other struggles you guys have with fanfiction, and maybe I'll do a part 2 to this video because your girl's still finding struggles when it comes to fanfiction. But let's get started with this video. So the first one I have on here is when you find a great fanfic and you're realizing it hasn't been completed yet, nor has it been updated since like 2018 or insert other year here. I hate this. So usually for me, whenever I filter through fanfics, I generally only look for completed ones. I do not like to read ones that are still currently being updated. But for the ones that are being updated, I'll add them, at least on Wattpad. What I'll do is I'll add them as like my plan to read as they're updated, and then once they're completed, I will completely read them. And this also goes for stories that are discontinued. So please write discontinued in the title if you, as a writer, is just like, hey, I'm done with this story, I'm not writing no more. So that I know that when I read it, there's no actual ending. Because I hate that where I'll get to it and I'll read it all the way through and I get to the end, it's the very last chapter, and I'm thinking, ooh, like this is the last chapter, but wait, there's still a lot of loose ends, and I get to the end and it's an author's note talking about I've decided to discontinue the story. The hours I have wasted reading this story to know that there's no ending, I am highly upset. So yes, I hate when this happens. This is the worst. This is why I'm glad that filters exist on all those fanfic sites that I use, so that I can, feed through the ones that ain't completed yet, because your girl hates to read an incomplete story. But getting on to number 2. So number 2 that I have on here is a fanfic that is like chef's kiss, great plot, but the grammar and the spelling errors make it unreadable. So I will be completely honest with you. I know that sometimes when you're typing or writing something out, that a lot of times you will just like skim and scan, or you're just typing so fast, so there are going to be some grammar or spelling errors. I can deal with that because a lot of times in my head I'll just correct it in my head and continue reading, and it's not an issue. But when it's to the point where it feels like someone who was 4 or 5 started writing this, I can't. And I will say, yes, I do know for a fact that sometimes what can happen is a lot of people are writing stories that are their first language is not English. So a lot of times it will cause where, there are some grammar errors or some spelling errors. And I'm okay with that, especially if they like write an author's note explaining that. But sometimes I just can't. I can't do it. And it makes me upset because I'm like, this plot sounds amazing. Like this is a story I want to read, but it's just so unreadable that I can't get through it. So yeah, let me know if you agree with that one. So getting on to number 3, the third one I have is chapters that aren't a chapter and are an author's note. I hate this. If you decide to write an author's note, I personally prefer it to be at the beginning of the chapter or the end of the chapter. Usually I don't read the author's note. I honestly don't care. This is also coming from someone who's currently writing a fanfic and writes an author's note at the beginning and end of her chapters. But I digress. I hate when there's a chapter and you get to, you're like, oh, next chapter, author's note. Or it's an update, author's note. I don't need to know all that information. Just put it in the chapter and just write the chapter. and then write the author's note at the beginning of like, hey, sorry, long time no see, something this happened, here's the chapter. Great. But when you just make an update and it's just an author's note, the excitement that I feel and the letdown that I feel when I get to it and I realize it's just an author's note is terrible. So please don't do this. Please don't. Just don't. So yeah, that's my third one. That's my third struggle that I have. Fourth one I have is, this is a struggle, is having someone who doesn't understand fan fiction see you reading it and then ask you what you're reading. The amount of times that my stomach has dropped when I've been like either getting my hair done or when I was in college, I'd be in class reading them, and to have my hairdresser, who was literally here, or to have like my friend sitting next to me go, what are you reading? Because then I can't explain it, and then I just say, oh, it's a story, and they say, what is it about? And in my brain, I'm like, how am I going to explain that what I'm reading is an Inuyasha fanfic that's AU, where they're all mafia members, and Inuyasha's trying to save Kagome from a like other mafia that is ran by Kikyo? How do I explain that? Because I'm like, they're going to think I'm nuts. Or how do I explain that what I'm reading is a story that's made up but with characters that actually exist? And to make matters worse is if you're reading a fanfic where the fanfic is about an actual individual, like for people who read fanfics about like celebrities or pop artists or whatever, that's even worse. So I hate having to explain that, because in my brain I'm like, I want to be like, stop looking at my phone to see what I'm reading and focus on whatever you're supposed to be doing. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Don't be in my business. Let me live. Just let me read my fan fiction in peace. But yeah, I think that's something where like probably a majority of the people that probably struggle with this or have struggled with this are people who are probably a little bit older when fan fiction wasn't that big of a thing, like when a lot of people just didn't know what it was. But since fan fiction now is a lot bigger because of things like Wattpad, AO3, Webtoons, and fanfiction.net, a lot more people kind of know what fan fiction is, especially because of, I hate to say it, but 50 Shades of Grey, because that was a Twilight fanfic. Especially when everybody found out about that, people were like, what is fan fiction? And then going on to then read fanfics. So yeah, I don't know if a lot of people still struggle with this, but I remember struggling with this definitely when I was in college. So like 2008, 2009, when I had just recently discovered fan fiction. So yeah, that's a struggle that I had. And now the last and final one is the fifth one I have, is having a fanfic that you're enjoying reading and then having the fanfic get deleted by the author mid-read. That happened to me on AO3. I was so upset. It was a fanfic that I was reading. I was like, this is so good. This is amazing. Like, I can't wait to read more. And I go back when I find the time to like start reading the next chapter or whatever. And it was a completed story. It wasn't like the story was incomplete. It was completed. So your girl was happy. And it was a long story with a great plot. I get to try to start reading where I left off at. Fanfic is gone. It's just not there. I was livid. I was like, how am I supposed to find another one? I'm so upset. So yeah, plus side though, I found the same fanfic by the same author on Wattpad. So the person that made this fanfic had also uploaded it to Wattpad as well as the sequel, but the sequel's not completed yet. But your girl, of course, finished that one. So yeah, but I hate that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Or at least give people a heads up. But granted, half of these fanfic writers I don't follow on social media, so I probably wouldn't have known anyways. But don't delete your work. Like, to me, like, I know, like, even YouTubers go through this, and like anyone that does content creation, a lot of times when you have a first video or a first blog or a first story, you never feel like it's your best because it was the first time you were doing it, and along the way a lot of us start to learn tips and tricks like lighting and editing, and we're like, oh man, my first video, yeah, that was rough. But don't delete it. To me, it just shows your progress. And to me, it's always great to go back to the first one that you ever made, the first one that you ever created, and seeing how far you've grown. So if you are a fanfic writer, please, this is coming from someone who's also like a content creator and also someone who's currently writing their first ever fanfic, don't delete it. don't delete it. Like, definitely keep it around. There are going to be people that are going to enjoy it, so definitely don't delete it. You made it for a reason, so don't delete it. But yeah, those are the 5 struggles that I have as someone who reads fan fiction. Let me know if you guys agree with this. Comment below if you're a fan fiction reader and any other struggles that you have with fan fiction. And I know that some of these struggles may not be around anymore because, like I said, fan fiction has become a little bit more acceptable, especially within like different fandoms. So definitely want to, you know, put that out there. So there's probably new struggles now, and I probably will make another video about like how fan fiction has definitely changed for the better. So yeah, look forward to that video soon. But yeah, that's what I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Links below to all my social media accounts. I have an Instagram, a Twitter, and of course also a TikTok. I uploaded a new TikTok probably like a few days ago about my mini review on Fruits Basket season 3. So feel free to check it out if you haven't already. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys soon with a new video next week on Wednesday. All right, you guys, like I always tell you guys, stay positive, stay nerdy, and in today's day and age, stay healthy, and of course, please stay safe. All right, you guys, bye.